Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another live stream as we face a bit of red in the markets today, a bit of a flash crash across some altcoins, a bit of a dump, and we are going to cover it all tonight. Just as we're coming live, Google has just announced its earnings, so we'll get into a bit on the stock market, a bit on the macro, and of course we'll go through some of the big moves in the crypto market tonight. We've been saying for weeks that it's not all straight up. There will be corrections. Don't know if I would have predicted it to be on the day of a BNB all-time high, but we'll cover that in a second. Bitcoin actually holding up really strongly, to be fair, above 118k, still in this tight little pocket of a range that it's been in for a few days since it made its all-time high, retraced back at the range, and it's basically just been sideways since Friday the 11th, so almost 2 weeks. Looking pretty healthy on the day, given everything else. If you didn't look at the rest of the altcoin market, you probably wouldn't know everything else was going on if you just looked at Bitcoin. So, yeah, some interesting moves in the market. We have some massive moves. XRP down about 10%. We have Ethereum holding up pretty strong as well. So it's mostly just the alts that are facing the big drops today. So yeah, we'll dive into it. We'll have a look and see what we can do. So as I say, if we look at Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart, you can see it's kind of, I don't know how valid this trend line is, to be honest, but we broke out of it last night. Quite a decent move up last night after the close, got up as high as 120k. That we've then retreated back to this trend line, which also seems to be quite a key line. If you look at where we are right now, you can see resistance back here, resistance here. So maybe this is valid, maybe it's not, but Bitcoin on the whole holding up. You've got Ethereum down 4% today, so not a massive move down. You can see it's filled some of the fair value gaps as well that were left. Filled this big wick that it left yesterday. And yeah, again, holding up pretty strong. Not so much of a retrace. If we just quickly look at Bitcoin, I still don't think we get to 112k. I still think this 115k would be the bottom of the range. We look too strong for this to be a proper reversal, in my opinion, but as we've seen today, anything can happen in the markets. Let's have a look at XRP. Getting absolutely smoked. Still getting smoked, to be fair. Down at 317. I think the lowest we got was 316. Might break that in the next couple of hours before the daily close. We're back below the all-time high. A really strange one. Given there's no major news breaking, it does seem like a coordinated kind of manipulation across the altcoin market. To me, I've got a theory on it. We'll dive into it shortly. Let's look at BNB. So BNB put in that all-time high this morning, 808, looking really strong, 809. Previous all-time high was 793. So yeah, we broke above it, and then immediately, the minute we hit that, that's when the altcoin market started selling off, retracing, and we are now back below it, but still on course for quite a strong price for BNB tonight at the close. Solana down as well, hit our target. So this was our target. Now this is what I mean about a coordinated manipulation across the market. If you look at Solana, for example, Solana hit that box to perfection and then retraced. But if you look at the wick, it wicked exactly off the top of this double bottom formation, and we'll see that across the market tonight. It also kind of filled this fair value gap that was left from Monday as well. If you look at Chainlink's probably the perfect example of it. So we've got this support resistance line that goes way back in time, back to February 2024. You can see it's the neckline of the double bottom on the daily time frame as well. We retraced back to it, we wicked just below, and it looks like we're going to close above it. If we close above this level for Chainlink, yeah, I'd expect that to be a really strong bounce zone. And yeah, I think we then continue up and we'll break this local high and go much, much higher. The target for this double bottom would be somewhere around 25.50, which again is the peak here, kind of key level. So yeah, there's a lot of that in play across the charts tonight. Let's have a look at the chat. There's a lot of people in. Let's see who's all in. Lewis is saying sell it all. Fraser's saying back to making money tomorrow. I hope so. Yeah, long the dips. I do think this is a dip buying market. So yeah, you're correct. We buying or selling? I wouldn't be selling after a 10% drop anyway. If we look at Bitcoin dominance, this kind of tells the whole picture of today. Bitcoin dominance up almost 2% on the day. We did say we thought we'd get some kind of bounce in this zone. We'd bounce up closer to the 702 before we properly start moving downwards. So I still think that's in play. We were hoping that Bitcoin dominance was going to rise with Bitcoin price. It didn't happen, and that's why we've seen a bit of a sell-off today. I touched on it at the start. There wasn't really any major news stories. Normally what happens is price moves and then there's a news narrative or story that gets released to kind of justify the price move. If you look at the entire total 2, down 5% after reaching the 6 fib level as well. There's not been any major news stories. If we flick through some of the news stories, this is probably the most relevant one we'll come back to. Trump media bought $2 billion worth of Bitcoin on Monday. So bullish. You've got the trade deal with Japan, bullish. You've got Tether announcing that it's going to be starting to work on a US-based business. Tether, one of the biggest holdings of US debt and the biggest stablecoin in the world. So bullish again. So a lot of bullish news. You've also got the stock market. So the S&P just closed a new all-time high and highest daily candle close in history. You've got the NASDAQ, highest daily candle close in history. You've got the Russell starting to break out of this little zone. I posted in CC Pro earlier to our members that once we break this range, I think we will see the Russell catch up to the rest of the indexes pretty quickly, and that'll be bullish for crypto. We're starting to break out, so hopefully we hold above there tonight. You've got silver. Silver breaking out. Highest price for silver since 2011. So everything, the conditions are ripe for a massive altcoin rally. But if we come back to this first story, so Bitwise and Grayscale have launched an ETF, or they want to launch an ETF, which holds 10 cryptos. And cryptos are Bitcoin, Ethereum, obviously, and then XRP, Cardano, Solana, Sui, Chainlink, Avalanche, Litecoin, and Polkadot. They want to hold it as a basket so people can have broad exposure to the top cryptos. Both have now been approved by the SEC, but they've not been given approval to list or launch. A really strange one, but both have approval. They just can't actually go active trading. So my only kind of tinfoil hat moment is, are we going to get an announcement about when this can launch? And maybe this is some manipulated move to dump altcoins before these massive funds start to trade. Perhaps we'll find out in due course, no doubt. Touched on it at the start. We've got Google earnings. So Google earnings just came out. Revenue beat by 2.4 billion, and earnings per share up. So not necessarily crypto, but it definitely impacts the market. And obviously we've got Tesla earnings just coming out as we speak as well. 22.5 billion versus 22.74. So 14% year over year drop in vehicle deliveries. So quite a big miss there, but I think it was expected. I think if you look at what happened with Elon at the start of the year with Doge and Trump, it was kind of expected that Tesla was going to fall back. Let's see what it's done to share prices, because this will translate into the market tomorrow. So Google down post-market. This is why stock market is such a scam. All these people dumping their Google stock. If you're an average investor, you can't trade it after hours. They can. So down just a little bit at the moment. Let's have a look at Tesla. It'll probably be down a lot more. It's actually up. So crazy. Google beats and sells off. Tesla misses and pumps. The world is a mad place, but it just shows you how much manipulation goes in to front running these announcements. All these earnings reports, it's a complete gamble. Insiders already know what's going to happen, and yeah, we've now got some selling in Google and profiteering in Tesla, and the Nasdaq's the big winner, putting the highest daily candle close in history in for the Nasdaq. Like I say, all should be bullish for crypto. We had Coinbase up after market and Robinhood up after market as well. So that's kind of the macro catch up. We will cover some more later on, but let's have a look at what is happening with price, because XRP's dropping to the lowest price of the day. You've got Cardano down. So yeah, some big moves. And somebody asked about Borg. Let's touch on Borg, which is down, I think 10%, 14% today. To be fair, we had, what have we moved? We were up 50% in 5 days. So yeah, a little retracement, we can handle that. If you were buying in these low prices, you're still up. And it's amazing that average buy price is just so important at times like this, because it shouldn't really affect you if you were buying low down. You know, if you bought XRP at 50 cents, it goes to 350, it goes back to 317. Does it really impact you that much if your average buy price is below 50 cents? Not really in the grand scheme of things. But it will impact retail, and it will impact new investors who maybe bought over the last week because they've seen prices doing so well. This is the type of move that completely panics them. They sell, they get out in a loss, they think crypto's a scam, and they'll come back in a few months when prices are even higher. Yeah, I think Borg will do very well. I think by the end of the year we'll see it much, much higher. I've said before, I think it could do $3 this cycle. Timing is pretty impossible, but I think you'll see it north of $1 in the coming months, certainly. It really all depends, and I've say this all the time, this others chart, which is a prime example of what happened today. If you look at, let's just zoom this in a little bit. So on the daily, you can see we got up as high as the 50% retracement, couldn't close above it despite a few wicks, rejected back down. So I'll be interested to see how tomorrow plays out. Tomorrow, we don't have any big macro headlines, so it shouldn't shake the markets too much, but the fallover from the stock market should flow into crypto. And if Bitcoin closes tonight above this, let's have a look here. If it closes above this level here, this 118,372, maybe 350, call it, I think that's bullish. I think that sends a real signal to the market that, 10% crashes, it doesn't matter. I think this dip will get bought up aggressively by retail as well, because a lot of people have been feeling over the last few weeks that they've missed the boat, they've missed the chance to buy in. So 10% correction, can they rejig their portfolio, can they move some things about and get in the market? Then I think this is the prime opportunity to do that. Tonight is the last night of the Vantage pre-sale, so it closes at 11 PM UK time. So as you can see on the counter, it's 1 hour 30 minutes from now. Pre-sale will close. That will be the last time we are selling tokens before we publish the results of the first month's AUM growth, earnings, that type of thing. We'll be posting that the start of August. And this will be the last chance to buy tokens. So if you're not familiar with Vantage, it's a fund that invests across the market, FX, stocks, basically any type of investment. we will look at from the Vantage Fund point of view. We then pay token holders a percentage of the yield every month, and a percentage goes back into the AUM. So you earn your share of the overall pot at the end of the month. Everybody wins together. That's how it was designed. The token price doesn't impact how much share of the pot you get. So in my opinion, this is the cheapest the price will ever be at the 0.075. So yeah, closes in an hour and 37 minutes. And then from there, we move on. I'm going to pull up Xborg because it came up. So for anyone that's not in CC Pro, we have our private members community, CC Pro. We do daily updates, podcasts, TA, trading, all that. But we also have a separate section for alpha investors. So they're maybe a bit higher net worth, or maybe just want that extra personalized service. We do a live stream just for alpha investors every Monday night. On Monday this week, we covered Xborg in a bit of detail. We had a member on that had a lot of questions about Xborg. So a couple of things we were touching on were, do we think it's going to get back to its all-time high of 40 cents? The answer is yes. I can say that quite confidently. I actually bought some. One of the benefits of being in CC Pro is we post all our buys and sells. So I bought some after the alpha stream, and then Dawn actually bought some as well straight after. Sub 10 cents, in my opinion, was an absolute bargain, and that's why I opted to buy some. I think 5x easy, but I think it goes much higher. I think $1 would be a really good price target. So 10x from here. But one of the questions was the member felt overexposed and wasn't sure if he should sell some in a loss. And my argument was no. I think gaming's had no attention in the last 6 months. I think gaming will have its day. Xborg are one of the most active teams. I see them all the time posting. They've also got a few things going on right now, which I think in the next 2 or 3 weeks will impact the chart really nicely. And they're also listing on Hyperliquid, which has ridiculous volume, and that listing should come in the next month or so. I think before September they're going to list on Hyperliquid, which brings new investors, new volume, and just more exposure to the project, to be honest. But even before then, they've got loads of things coming, and I think we'll see a lot of buy pressure in the chart coming. So our advice, not financial advice, you need to do what you think's right, but I wouldn't be selling on a loss in a market where Bitcoin's sitting, chilling above 118k, and we're just waiting on that rotation of capital down through the market. So, yeah, we covered Xborg. We had a lot of questions about it. It was actually great. On those alpha streams, we go in, we can answer one-to-one questions, and we can go back and forth for a while. So, yeah. The link for CC Pro, if you're not a member, is in the description. I'll pull it up as well. So this is what you get in CC Pro, and this is what you get in Alpha. So special section in our Discord, you get bigger discounts. We have some alternative investments, not just crypto, and obviously you get to network with some other high net worth individuals. And we have the Monday live stream, which I think is worth the entrance fee alone. Let's have a look at the chat and we'll answer some questions. I don't know what our home is. Let's ignore that. Borg touched on that. Sushi, yeah, sushi's been absolutely flying. To be fair, I've been banging on about sushi for as long as I can remember. Another one, a bit like Chainlink, just coming down to this double bottom. So you could see another move later tonight, maybe down even as low as 87.5. Would be bullish for me, and that would just be testing this neckline as support. Don't know if we get there, to be honest. Sushi's been on an absolute tear. Up 85% in 11 days. Really nice move, but I've been calling it all year, these DEX tokens we're going to do really well. And finally, it's following through. Polkadot, again, rejected by the 200 MA, so not quite breaking out. So someone asked actually in CC Pro if we could cover tokens that we thought were still relatively cheap versus the market. Anything that's not broken out of this double bottom, because basically every single altcoin is put in a double bottom, and it's either at the neckline, above the neckline, or below it. Anything below it, I would say, is undervalued versus the rest of the market. Anything above it, I would just trade cautiously, because obviously you can see massive drawdowns like we saw today. XRP just keeps dropping, to be fair. 313 now. Wow. I think 310 is the target, to be fair. Fill this fair value gap. So, yeah, 310 is probably where it's going to end up, which is pretty brutal after a few weeks of some nice, lovely green price action. It does still sting a little bit. Let's see on the hourly. I think the other thing everybody has to remember is this is healthy. Like, we do need corrections at times to flush out some of the leverage, flush out some of the weak hands, and this always catches people out in a bull run. They get used to green day after day after day. They just think it's going to continue, and unfortunately we do get these brutal sell-offs, which hurt even more because your portfolio's worth sometimes more than it's ever been, and you're seeing significant capital on the table, and then you see these massive drawdowns. Let's have a look at Polkadot and we'll draw some fibs. And let's see where we are at. Looks like the altcoins are still selling off, to be fair. Let's quickly look at this. So total 2, yeah. Maybe putting it in a bit of a double bottom perhaps, fill that wick, and then we can maybe find some form of bottom over the next 24 hours. I don't think this will drag on much longer, to be fair. I think it will be over. Stablecoin market cap continues to increase, which is bullish for the entire market. Right, let's look at Polkadot. So someone says, do we think it could make a new all-time high? Yeah, I don't see why not. I think Polkadot is one of the ones that's going to be... I think there's an ETF application for Polkadot. So, you know, if a few billion comes out in the market for Polkadot, let's go send it wild. So yeah, I don't see any reason why not. The other coin, again, double bottom, rejected off the 200-day moving average, this purple line here, red line. Those double bottoms are crazy. They're so obvious in hindsight. Yeah, I think the amount of money that's about to pour into the markets, I don't see why most coins won't. There's going to be outliers that don't make new all-time highs. There's going to be outliers that just can't because token unlocks, and they've probably unlocked 90% of their supply since their last all-time high. It might be hard. But I think the amount of money that's going to flow into the space is going to eclipse anything we've ever seen before. There was news out today. I don't think I've got it up. Well, I don't have it, but JP Morgan and another big bank in the US, I forget which one, has announced that they're going to tokenize the money market fund. And the money market fund is $3.5 trillion they're about to tokenize, and tokenize it on Ethereum. Like, we just throw around these $1 trillion numbers like it's just pennies, but we're talking trillions, which is just, it's insane to even get your head round. Dominance continues to rise as the alts bleed out. DEX about to get smoked in a pump trade, which makes sense, to be fair. normally you find the absolute vaporware gets trashed the most in these corrections. Pretty brutal, to be fair. I thought it was potentially over earlier. You see XRP now getting closer to that target, that 310 level, nearly there. If we don't hold that, then could go as low as $3 back to the peak from the 2nd of March. I think that would be pretty brutal for a lot of people, but yeah, a lot of late longs getting absolutely smoked right now, I would imagine. And yet Bitcoin continues to hold up. Bitcoin's still sitting high 117k. So yeah, strange market today. We can talk about Borgie. I spoke about Borgie a few nights ago. I think he'll do well once we see that meme season return. I think normally the meme season, the meme rallies are a key signal that we are near some form of top. We've not seen it yet, but I do hold a lot of confidence in Borgie, simply because it's backed by such a huge community. I think they'll want to see it do another all-time high when the meme coin chaos kicks off again. So yeah, I have no doubts about that. Let's have a look at MV. Down less than some coins today, to be fair. It looks like it's bounced. Back up at the 200-day moving average. Need to clear that. And then start moving. These things move pretty fast. We saw it with Opulus this week. Down 10% today, but it was up something like 50% in a couple of days. XRP is just absolutely flown through those levels. Wow. Dogecoin down almost 15%. Again, still no real justification for the sell-off, which makes me believe it's just exchanges flushing that late leverage, and those late longs, those retailers that have just piled into crypto for the first time, are getting absolutely destroyed, which is pretty brutal. Yeah, I think Borgie will do a new all-time high, to be honest. And I mean, it's not safe. It's still a meme coin. It's still trash, if we're brutally honest. But I think what you know is it's still got some association with Swiss Borg, so you do have a bit more confidence than just some random degens that create a coin and launch it. So I think that's one reason to be bullish. Arbitrum back at the 200-day moving average. This be interesting to see if we close above this on Arbitrum. Arbitrum's been absolutely killed. You can see the target of this downtrend. The first breakout target is 42.63, so we fell through that. We're now at the 200-day moving average, so I think the daily close is going to be very key for a lot of the market. In particular, total market cap. If we can hold above the all-time high, then we're still really bullish, in my opinion. It'd be nice for total 3 to hold above the 702 as well. Inspect. Let's have a look. Actually up 6% today, so a bit of an outlier. Just consolidating in a bit of a downward triangle at support. So yeah, hold this and we'll probably fill this wick up to 3 cents, and then from there you just start climbing. Look how fast it moves as well. It's sheer straight up, straight down. So pretty bullish that it's up today. Maybe they've got a big announcement, something coming. Just a lot of buy pressure in the chart after it got absolutely crushed. So yeah, it'll be, if we hold this level around 0.017, it looks like it's just forming a bit of a bull flag, and then the breakout. Let's see where it targets. say it broke out somewhere around there. Target would be 0.044 roughly. So yeah, looking pretty bullish to be fair. Inspect. Like I say, it's all about the daily chart. ETH versus Bitcoin back down. See what some of the other charts are looking like. XRP versus Bitcoin down 11%. And yeah, Bitcoin still holding up. Ross is wishing he took some profit at 380. To be fair, it's easy to say in hindsight. I think one thing, and we're going to actually do a profit taking members only live stream in the next week or so with CC Pro members, just to kind of cover that so that you don't have any regrets once we go into the bear market. I think I think you just have to have a plan and execute, and it doesn't really matter when you get times like this, because XRP will go to 380 this cycle. Like, it's just a question of when, not if. So, a little 1 day correction, it might bleed into a couple of days. We might see by the weekend some kind of recovery, but you just need to have a plan, stick to it, and execute, and then you won't have any regrets. It's funny as well, there's so many people on X that are saying the top's in. That to me tells me the top isn't in, because at tops you'll typically see people on X and Twitter and socials and whatever else you want to call it, telling you that the top's not in and that we're going much higher, claim that Bitcoin's got $1 million. You'll see partnerships with Google, you'll see partnerships with Apple, all this stuff getting thrown about. That's how you tell there's a top. On top of that, you normally see massive meme coin mania kick off. That's when the kind of latecomers to crypto pour into meme coins, pour into low caps, trying to chase those mental gains that they've missed out on. So they take as much risk as possible. That's how you smell a top coming in, to be fair. And I don't feel like we've had that massive euphoric rise. I think if you're in CC Pro, if you're on these streams, you probably feel like we've had massive euphoria because we're all in it together, we're all shouting about and talking about it. But the wider space is still quite bullish, it's quite bearish in places, and I think that makes me more bullish. No, I would never short a bull uptrend, to be honest. Unless you're like an amazing 15-minute scalper, then yeah, by all means, like, you can long short all day long, but you don't short uptrends, and we are in one of the clearest uptrends ever across the entire space. In my opinion, this is a bull flag. I said it a couple of nights ago. I think I said it last night. I was messaging Deck and Don. I'm pretty sure I said we're in a bull flag. That's what this looks like to me. Until we break out of it downwards, I'm going to continue to think we are waiting for a break to the upside. Be something around there. Let's see what it looks like on the smaller time frames. Yeah, it's probably pretty accurate, to be fair. Let's fix it so it looks neat. But yeah, short in the market in this, you could just get blown up so easily. It's just a waste of capital, to be honest. When the market dumps like this, the best thing to do is just kind of try and ignore it, and just wait for happier days, to be honest. Yeah, if this breaks out, the upside potential is 130. I've been saying 130 is the target for this move for ages. I said it a couple of times last week on stream. There's a key area between 130k and 134k. I think that's a key zone to watch out for. I think when we start getting in the 130s, that's when I'll start getting a bit cautious. And the reason for that is once we get through 125, the next obvious level is 150. Once we get into the 130s, everybody's just waiting for 150 to hit. So it makes sense to reverse and dump the price just before we get to that level. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm looking at. I think if I draw the fibs on, it'll show the exact same. Yeah, 134. I think if we go to a higher time frame, draw the fibs, 131. So that 131 to 134. Let's see what it looks like on the weekly. So yeah, that's the area I'm watching out for. And yeah, I'll get cautious once we get above 125k. I would say we need to start watching out for top signals then. But I don't think we're there yet. I think this is just a bit of a brutal correction. Just remind everybody that it's still crypto and it's still volatile. Yeah, I could look at VeChain. It had a bit of brutal pullback earlier, 11%. We are down now on the day. Rejected off the 200-day moving average. So, not quite hit the neckline of this double bottom. Yeah, still bullish on VeChain long term. Short term, needs to recover, needs to get above 0.028. Yeah, break out the double bottom and then quite a nice upside target, to be fair. Even if you just hit the December high, it is a 220% move from current price. So yeah, pretty bullish, back in the range from 2024. Ricky, nice position to be in, to be fair. I think if you can keep stacking, just be careful with XRP though, because if you're buying 350, 360 XRP, what upside? You maybe have 2x. So yeah, I'd tread cautiously. Nice buy today, I suppose, if you bought yesterday. Yeah, it's a 9.8 RJ. The stream will be different. So in the stream, what I want to do is just go through some of the altcoins we've looked at over the past year. We'll look at the wider market. We'll look at how to take profit. We'll look at different tactics on taking profit, and we'll also look at what you could potentially do with your profits. We've seen a lot of people ask about rotating profits into underperforming coins, so we'll look at that as well. We'll look at doing fibs. We'll look at how to kind of look for signs that the token or the market is topping. We'll cover everything, and obviously unlike the next video, it'll be a stream, so we'll be able to answer questions as we go, so we'll be able to have a bit of back and forth. But if you're in CC Pro and you've not checked out the profit taking video, there's some absolute gems, some nuggets of real information that you should consume, and I think we've said that a few times, but it's one of those ones that you kind of want to sit and pay attention to It's not a background type thing, because ultimately, if you've been in crypto for a while, you've battled everything. You've battled your emotions, mentality, you've battled price, you've battled everybody telling you you're stupid. You've probably sacrificed a lot of things to invest. Why would you then mess it up at the very crucial stage? Profit taking is one of the hardest things to do. Spoke about this on an alpha stream the other night, but everybody thinks profit taking's easy, because it's making money, but it's actually really difficult for a few reasons. One, people become psychologically attached to their bags. It's a bit like Stockholm syndrome. Like people that get kidnapped get attached to their kidnappers. People get attached to their cryptos. The thought of never checking the XRP price again because you don't hold any is insane to most people, because for 4 or 5 years, every single day, they probably look at the price chart. So it becomes psychological. There's obviously the mental side where the what if it goes higher? What if it does run to $50 like somebody on X said? What happens if that is right? People get trapped in the what if, and the hopium drags them in. And then the other side of it is when a day like this happens. So for example, if you invested, I used this example in Alpha the other night. So if you invested 10k into the market and it becomes 100k and then it drops 20%, it's dropped double what you've actually invested in the first place. That is really hard for people to deal with, because if that drops 20, that could be somebody's yearly salary. That could be a deposit for a house. That definitely could be a car. Whereas when it's 10k and it drops 20% in a bear market, it's 2k. You can go make 2k. I'm pretty sure everybody that's investing in crypto could find a way of making $2,000. Making $20,000 is a big stretch. So once your portfolio starts creeping up, the mentality of managing it becomes a total different ball game. Profit taking is key. You need to have a plan. I would have it written down. I would have it in front of me all the time, reminding myself what I'm going to do, so that you execute when the time's right and you don't get swayed by others. No, Scott, I won't be all out. What I think is, I've said this for a while, so I think I go between two theories, but I think I need to kind of pick one. But for me, I think from here we maybe go up, get to maybe 135k, probably pretty soon. I think next week's FOMC, we're all going to learn that there's a rate cut in September coming. I don't think that's going to be a surprise. I think the markets will absolutely explode higher, but I think the actual rate cut could be a sell the news event, and I think we'll correct pretty hard. Do I think we'll get a 30% correction? Probably not, but could we see some type of violent correction? Yeah, we probably could. And then we'd probably chop around as well. This is probably not the best to do it. Let's see if I can do it some other way. So I think we get up maybe 135k, sell the news event, September, probably come down, consolidate, and then I think the back end of the year, maybe into 2026, we get a violent, euphoric rally, and that's where we go kind of 200k zone. That's kind of my theory for now. It changes all the time. I need to kind of sit and work out what I really think could happen, map it out. I'll draw it out and maybe share that on another stream as well. There's so much going on in the world. Let's see what rate odds are today. 97% of next week's FOMC being no cut. That's a done deal. I think what will be key is this will go from 60% to maybe 80, 90% next week. I think we've got Fed chairman all vying to take Powell's place. They want to seem dovish to Trump because they want a chance of getting the job. I think he'll announce who's getting the job soon. And then I think markets will melt up after that. I still see some kind of brutal correction in the autumn, September, October time, but I don't think that's the market done. I think we've still got craziness to come after that, because it's been pretty orderly if you think about it. It's not been a mad manic bull run. We've had ups, we've had corrections and chopped sideways, then we went up, corrected, chopped sideways. It's not been that crazy. I think it'll get insane next year, potentially, if not Q4 this year. But overall, nice healthy correction. I'll be interested to see what things like the RSI have done. Let's pull up XRP. Yeah, massive move on the RSI, back into normal territory after being hugely overbought. 3-day time frame, yeah, back down as well. So yeah, that's really healthy. Indicators just getting reset. Bet on the hourly time frame, yeah, we're oversold. So we could start to see XRP starting to recover. I still think watch the daily candle closes tonight. We've now filled that gap, so to me that's pretty bullish. What's happened on the weekly? Yeah, we've filled the gap on the weekly, bounced off the previous weekly high candle close. See where the stock market's sitting. Still looking pretty healthy. Futures close in 5 minutes. Nasdaq new all-time high. Let's just have a look where everything. Nvidia up after hours. Microsoft up after hours. Meta up after hours. Google up after hours. Coinbase up. Absolute scam. Amazon and Apple all up after hours. Crazy. Hopefully this bleeds into crypto. The Russell with over a % move. I don't think we've had that big a move recently. We're starting to break out of this tight range. If we could get above the 2320 level, then I think we go to all-time high. I think Russell 2000 will put in a new all-time high before the year's out. The biggest winner for rate cuts is small cap stocks and altcoins, because it just loosens the liquidity tap. So I think next week could be key, but to be honest, I think it's pretty obvious we're going to get rate cuts in September anyway. And if you look at macro, there is apparently Trump's going to speak in 5 minutes. That'll be interesting. But tomorrow we have the PMIs. So PMIs are the production indexes. I expect this to be a really bullish number for the US economy. And again, that just goes against all the bearishness. I think that will help drive the rate cuts, because if this is bullish, it means that what Trump's doing is working for the economy, and rate cuts are needed to just boost small business. So watch out for that number tomorrow. Other than that, it's quite a quiet week in terms of macro land, which is nice. And then next week we've got the FOMC, which will bring chaos to the markets once again. Dow Jones at all-time high as well. Dow Jones probably going to make a new all-time high tomorrow. So, yeah. today's moves just remind everybody as crypto shake some people out, reset the indicators before the next leg. In my opinion, I think 125k Bitcoin, 130k Bitcoin could come in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and that'll send dominance down pretty quickly. And I think the next move will be this leg here. So we've got our bounce. I don't think it will be a sustained bounce, maybe a couple of days, if that, and then we'll head down sub 60%. Once we get into the kind of 50s, below the 50% retracement on the fib level, below 56%, that's when the fun really begins for altcoins. I dropped the link for Vantage, just over an hour to go until it closes. The pre-sale will close and that'll be it. From then, you will have to buy tokens on the open market when we TGE later this summer. And the link for CC Pro, if you're not in CC Pro, we've got loads coming, especially that members only profit taking stream. That'll be really important to make sure you extract as much value from this market as possible in the coming months. The link for that is in the chat. I will drop it again just so you've all got it. Some bounce on XRP. What are we up now? Up nearly 5% from the bottom. Yeah, to be fair, we did hit that $3 level, did we? Yeah, 301. Basically this. I wonder if we'll get any news over the next 24 hours to try and justify this. There'll be some crazy story. It'll be something to do with Trump or something to do with just nonsense that has absolutely nothing to do with it. Basically, it'll be Binance dumping tokens, trying to sell off some coins and shake people out. Perhaps one night this week. So we're going to stream tomorrow night. Probably going to stream Friday night as well. Maybe Friday night we will do what I think the rest of the year looks like in terms of Bitcoin price action. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed, but we will try and map it out. Look at what we think could happen to price in terms of the correction, when we think it could come in. We'll look at FOMC. We'll look at what happened at the last kind of rate cycle. So if you remember back in 2021, the Fed announcing that rate hikes were coming, actually mark the top. So the Fed marking, or the Fed indicating that the rate cutting cycle starts, could actually start the absolute mammoth euphoric rise, which comes next week. XRP is on an absolute tear, up almost at 317 now. Bounced. Yeah. Crazy. So yeah, we'll do that in the next stream. Yeah, Jack, I agree. $2 Borg before the end of the year would be lovely indeed. That's all for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're in CC Pro, we will be dropping more updates on some charts. We'll look at what the daily candle closes look like tomorrow morning as well. If you're not, the link's in the description. Make sure you are involved in staying up to date. And I'll be back tomorrow night with another stream and hopefully some green in the markets. Catch you all then.